In 1956, John Frankenheimer found himself at a bit of a crossroads. He was a very successful live television director after being the assistant director for the legendary Sidney Lumet.
Climax!
Good evening. Tonight, a lieutenant of homicide and a vengeful woman track a pain-racked killer as he prowls the city streets.
With over hundreds of popular shows like Climax and Playhouse 90 under his belt, things were changing in the industry from a technical standpoint. The live TV industry was fast transitioning to videotape. In Gerald Pratley's book, The Films of Frankenheimer, John described his position as, "Being a live television director was like being the village blacksmith after the event of the automobile, because everything was now being done on tape. I knew that I had to get out. I knew that I had to do something."
Can you make it?
Hey, how are you, Mish? I want to talk to you.
What about?
Money?
At that time in Hollywood, the belief was that if you worked in live TV on a set, you could not direct a film for the big screen. It just wasn't a feasible leap to those with the resources at the studios. John had directed an episode of Climax called Deal a Blow, written by Robert Dozer. As luck would have it, Dozer turned that story into a feature screenplay retitled The Young Stranger. His brother William Dozer suddenly found himself as the new head of RKO Pictures after his time as the head of CBS had ended. Frankenheimer was asked to direct The Young Stranger because he had done such a great job on the TV version. Production began on the $350,000 feature on July 9, 1956, and lasted about 4 weeks.
Want a ride?
In that?
The Young Stranger stars James MacArthur as Hal Ditmar, the 16-year-old son of a movie executive, Tom Ditmar, who has little to no time for his son, nor the patience to understand his juvenile exploits.
Who's your tailor? I'll be down in a minute.
Hal lives in a somewhat Leave It to Beaver type of landscape, where mass conformity is the key to happiness.
Take this down, Lottie. Hey, Buck.
Hal's real lack of a relationship with his own father starts to boil over in outbursts, including one that is the touchstone event of the film. Hal and his buddy Jerry go to the movies, and they disrupt a couple in front of them who you could say are in the act of romancing.
Look, are you gonna take him down or I have to get the manager?
Take what down?
As the viewer, we don't know a lot about Hal's life, so we automatically kind of feel anger toward Hal and his actions. Hal is ordered to leave the theater by the manager, Grubbs, played by Whit Bissell.
The manager of this theater. Now, come on.
We might as well go.
If you look around, mister, maybe you can find someone else to fight with.
Things get heated, and Hal is provoked into striking the theater manager.
Come on, will you?
I said come.
Will you? Go!
Hal is then taken to the police station, and again while there, we as the audience are not necessarily on his side. Hal is arrogant in his actions and dismissive of the process in general. He shows a general distrust in any sort of authority.
Whatever gave you the idea you could go around hitting people?
I do it all the time.
It's just homework. We have a course in hitting people at Grant High.
I'd like to take you outside right now, see if you have any business using your fists.
I bet you would. I bet that's how you get your kicks, you beat up juvenile delinquents.
You just about qualify for that, Harold.
And this is only further reinforced when his father, played by James Daly, shows up and more or less becomes just another cop to his son.
Where will I find Sergeant Shipley, please?
Inside, Hal is trying to explain where his rage emanates from but no one is actually there to listen. James Gregory's cop character of Shipley seems somewhat understanding to his situation, but still, he has his job to do.
I don't know what kind of people you're used to dealing with, but I'm capable of disciplining my own son.
I'm sorry, Mr. Dittmar, but there's a certain procedure that has to be followed.
The teen rebel trope had been running rampant in both cinema and TV at the time. The teen who feels no love at home acting out in a public manner had kind of run its course, but Frankenheimer does a great job here of presenting a seemingly simple story but not throwing the tropes directly into your face. It's a more subtle way of going about it.
Really, I haven't. Nobody around here seems to want to listen to me.
Nobody wants to listen to a lot of smart aleck back talk.
Can't you just tell me about it without screaming at each other?
I feel like screaming!
James MacArthur's performance of Hal is really interesting. It's his first film, and he shows unusual restraint for this atypical role of the time.
I might just pull a hit-and-run job or something for kicks, huh?
Well, your car may stall again now.
MacArthur is the son of actress Helen Hayes, who was perhaps on hand to rein in what could be an otherwise over-the-top performance.
Why not? It's my last chance.
Oh, that'd go a long way in helping you with the police, wouldn't it?
Hal returns to the movie theater to confront the manager Grubbs to try and convince him to tell Officer Shipley why Hal was provoked into striking him. After Grubbs refuses to comply with the request, another melee ensues and Hal strikes Shipley yet again.
Get out of here.
Oh, now wait a minute, Mr. Grubbs. I came here to apologize and ask a polite favor. You don't have to get nasty about it.
I said get out. I mean out, all the way out.
I didn't come here looking for trouble, Mr. Grubbs, so cut it
As
out.
far as I'm concerned, you're always looking for trouble.
Leave me alone, will you?
You gonna get out of my theater, or do I have to throw you out again?
And this is where the film really goes into some deep psychological themes. Setting both fights in a movie theater, screenwriter Dozer presents us with an environment where the protagonist Hal's father provides comfort and escape for the general public. Mr. Dittmar sees himself as someone who gives comfort. This in turn provides him the money to give his son the material things he thinks he needs. That to him is love.
I don't know why I bother to talk to anyone anymore.
Then the obvious thing for you to do is to shut up and eat your dinner.
But by not listening to his son only makes it worse, and being in a movie house only heightens the stakes for poor Hal, because everyone around him gets comfort from what his dad makes, but Hal doesn't get any at all. It only serves to fuel the rage Hal has for his father, and for Hal, anyone in authority who gets in his way is simply an avatar for his father. As Frankenheimer would later present to us in Seconds, the idea of the broken American dream narrative is kind of started here. Hal's mom, played wonderfully by Kim Hunter, has also lost touch with her son, but still is able to provide some sort of nurturing to him when he needs it.
Her father once told me, the only thing in this world he really loved was you.
But she too has lost touch with her film executive husband. Their relationship is possibly as broken as the one with their son. Frankenheimer, ever the political filmmaker, even lays the seed of Hal telling us jokingly that, "I'm a communist."
If you hadn't gotten smart, there would have been no fight.
Okay.
So it was your fault, wasn't it?
With his son again now in the hands of Officer Shipley, it scares him enough to where he is finally able to express himself convincingly enough to Shipley about what really happened that night with Grubbs.
Harold, what makes you think I won't believe the truth if I hear it?
You heard it once before and you wouldn't believe it. Pretty much like my father that way.
Grubbs, as a result, is able to admit to Shipley that, yeah, I did egg him on.
Upset. He's just another young hoodlum.
Shut up, Grubbs. When a boy has to hit somebody to get his father to believe him, there's something wrong.
As his father comes back to the station and now sees a bigger picture, he begins to realize that Hal may be at fault for the physical actions, but what led up to it probably and most likely lie at his own feet.
Grubbs admitted it was self-defense.
And as a result, without Frankenheimer getting overly melodramatic, he ends the film with a father and son outside a police station having an honest conversation for the first time.
What's that?
Glad it's Grubbs you hit, not me. That's some shiner you gave him.
There is no big emotional crescendo here, it just ends with a stepping stone. The audience can now do its own evaluation and evaluate their own existing relationships. Frankenheimer has been quoted as saying he was panic-stricken on his first day of his first feature-length film. He treated it like the only way he knew how, a live TV show. That was a mistake. He didn't get to pick his crew. He was given one. He said that they were bad, and were just there to collect a check and go home. He said the assistant director said the motto was 12 by 12, which meant 12 pages by noon.
I mean, you think I could borrow your PJs?
He had 25 days to make this film, and most of the crew just made jokes about him on set trying to make an A movie on a C budget, which put Frankenheimer in a box and gave him a reputation on the set as a bad director. The camera work here is very static and TV feeling. Frankenheimer said that DP Robert Plank's camera work was sloppy. He said, quote, "There were so many things I thought I could have done that I didn't do. It's as if I was afraid to do anything with the camera." Frankenheimer wanted to shoot different film stocks for the house and the police station to give things a moodier feel, but was met with nothing but resistance. Frankenheimer went back to TV after this experience and was quite fed up with the filmmaking process. Yet he was quoted as saying, "Filmmaking interested me. I wanted to do it, but under the right conditions." The Young Stranger is Frankenheimer's first film and lays some groundwork for his future films. Maybe not so much photographically per se, but thematically, the ideas of distrust and authority, and the breakdown of the American ideal into a more realistic portrait of the actual truth of the American dream.
You sure picked the right way to get yourself in a whole mess of trouble, haven't you?
I've got a few complaints of my own. I want to press charges against this guy. He attacked me.
Frankenheimer's next shot at movies was being attached to producer Martin Juro's project, Breakfast at Tiffany's. He even helped develop the film for 3 months with writer George Axelrod. Then Audrey Hepburn read it and wanted to star. She did have a request. She wanted a director on board that she had worked with before and trusted, and she had never heard of a John Frankenheimer before. So John was out, but his relationship with writer Axelrod was about to bear tremendous benefits.